You ever have one of those mornings where you're pretty sure the universe is just daring you to lose your mind? Yeah, picture this. 5:43 a.m., pitch black, my headlights punching through a wall of dirt and so-called HOA landscaping, like I'm busting out of Alcatraz, except I'm driving a tractor and wearing a hard hat covered in dust. All I can see in my rear view is a line of fancy SUVs trapped behind a brand new residents-only gate. There's Deirdre, the HOA president herself, standing there shrieking at the top of her lungs in a voice that could probably strip paint. He's breaching the pergola. And all I can think is, you're darn right I am. Just as my tractor rolls through that hole smooth as a polite rhino. Yeah, that's a thing. I park it right beside the no farm traffic sign, now dangling by a single decorative screw. The look on Deirdre's face in that moment, worth every single hour I spent digging in the dark, every blister on my hands, every night poring over legal documents, until my eyes burned like a pair of old headlights. I'm Evan Rohr, by the way, quiet coffee before chickens kind of guy. I've got this 10-acre pecan and pepper farm that backs right up to Cedar Hollow Estates, where the hedges are cubic. The gossip is liquid and nobody minds their business unless it's yours. Most days I keep to myself, farm repairs, tinkering, maybe a bourbon out on the porch at sunset, watching the fields turn gold. But the HOA's crown jewel, their one-woman wrecking crew, is Deirdre Oak. She carries a clipboard like it's a shield and talks in covenants and restrictions like she carved them on stone tablets. She's got that tone, the kind that makes you want to double-check your shoes for scuffs. My deed includes a century-old access easement, a gravel lane running across the edge of Cedar Hollow out to the county road. Been there since 1923, longer than any of their houses. Longer than Deirdre's been alive, but you wouldn't know it from how she acts. She calls it visual clutter. I call it the only way to get a seed delivery without driving 17 miles around the mountain. First, she plastered my mailbox with pastel-colored courtesy notices about the sin of agricultural odors drifting onto a pedestrian vista. Lavender mint green, like the color's supposed to make a $500 fine go down easy. Then she deployed a drone loud as a hairdryer hovering over my pasture, documenting traffic patterns. The thing would circle my chicken coop like a mechanical vulture, sending the hens into panic mode. One time I waved at it, and the drone actually waved back, dropped a laminated card that read, HOA Patrol observing smile for compliance. You can't make this up. Found 3 more cards that week scattered in my tomatoes like the world's most passive-aggressive confetti. Pretty soon, Deirdre fired up the rumor mill. She told anyone who'd listen that I was running an unlicensed slaughterhouse. Only thing I've ever slaughtered was a watermelon at the county fair. But hey, facts are optional. Claimed my rooster was some kind of hate symbol because he crowed at dawn, disturbing her morning meditation hour. Even my scarecrow apparently violated anthropomorphic signage rules. Still don't know what that means. She scheduled a vote about my easement. Nobody told me, of course, for a Tuesday at 2 p.m. when every farmer in the county is knee-deep in work. Next thing I know, the easement's got a decorative iron gate. 2 pylons the size of tombstones. Planters jammed with petunias like floral sandbags. Gate had brass curlicues and a plaque, Cedar Hollow Estates, a place of distinction. Boulders on the shoulder chain across the entrance, big sign, no farm traffic, local vehicles only. The irony. I'm the most local one here, born and raised, the rest of them 5 years tops. But my delivery truck's stuck out on the county road while Deirdre's recording me on her phone, rose gold case chirping, "We chose a serene aesthetic. Please respect our serenity." Behind her, the HOA board nods along like bobblehead dolls matching polos and all. So I call the sheriff. He shrugs, says the gate looks civil. Deirdre smiles at me like she's just iced a cake lipstick so bright it could guide ships in a storm. That night, 2 a.m., I hear sprinklers going off. Next morning, I find out why Deirdre poured a concrete ribbon across my easement and stuck a pergola right on top white lattice climbing roses that hadn't had time to climb. Ran drip lines over it, made it look like a wedding arch that took a wrong turn. She also files a trespass complaint on me for trying to feed my animals 17 pages footnotes, citing rules passed the week before. One day I move a planter a couple inches to squeeze through with a wheelbarrow, and she calls 911, tells dispatch there's a man with a tractor threatening our gazebo economy. The dispatcher, bless her, asks her to repeat that 3 times. At this point, I stop talking to Deirdre. I start talking to the county records office. Now here's where the twist comes in. The records clerk, Ethel Salt of the Earth, she's worked that desk 40 years, remembered my grandfather. Leads me to a back room that smells like old paper and dust, pulls open a filing drawer that probably hasn't seen daylight since Clinton was in office. Inside, I find a 1923 plat. Shows not just my surface easement, but a subsurface irrigation and maintenance easement, a historic drainage culvert running under what's now Cedar Hollow's Serenity Strip. That old culvert's marked in blue ink notes about stormwater management and field drainage connecting my field to the roadside ditch. You get where this is going. Deirdre's little concrete ribbon blocked a public drain with designer mulch and 6 cubic yards of river rock. I file the old easement with the county engineer, and the fire marshal copy the DA and shoot a text to the road crew. Historic culvert obstructed, ingress blocked. Bob Martinez, the county engineer, calls me back within the hour, voice tight with that special kind of anger bureaucrats get when someone messes with infrastructure. So I rent a compact excavator, borrow 2 tunnel boxes from a buddy, and start digging at night by headlamp, staying within the easement, shoring it up like a saint with a backhoe. The original culvert's a work of art field stone and mortar, still mostly there now, choked with landscape fabric and synthetic fertilizer. At sunrise, I pop up right behind the HOA gate cones in a neat row sign that says culvert maintenance in progress and radio the county. Minutes later, sirens. Not emergency's official business. Engineer arrives, takes one look at the concrete, damming a public drain, starts snapping pictures, muttering about federal watershed violations. Fire marshal measures, the gate shakes his head, emergency access blocked. Environmental officer kneels, scoops soggy bark out of the channel, asks Deirdre if the HOA has a permit to choke a watershed with ceramics and perennials. Deirdre pulls up in her pink golf cart, hands them a parchment special aesthetic authorization with the butterfly watermark 0 legal weight. Fire marshal actually laughs, short, sharp, couldn't help himself. That's when the clubhouse turns into chaos and cardigans. Residents packed in county folks in uniforms. 2 deputies at the door, some guy waving a drowned solar light like evidence. County engineer rolls out the big guns and ATV with a screenplay's drone footage. This time from a neighbor who loaned me his drone after Deirdre's midnight rule changes wore him out. Footage shows Deirdre 3 a.m. directing contractors to pour concrete into a storm culvert clear as day. Audio picks up her voice telling them to make it look decorative. Then comes the paperwork. Stack of invoices on HOA letterhead, $18,000 for the gate, $12,000 for a pergola over a public easement, and my favorite, $1 or $200 for aromatherapy mist units to mask farm smells. Receipts for emergency meetings, votes never tallied, and an email where Deirdre tells a developer that blocking my access might force me to sell below market rate. Suddenly, Carl, the property manager, nervous guy tie askew, announces Deirdre's immediate suspension pending a vote. Fire marshal hits the HOA with a $10,000 fine for blocking emergency egress county drop stormwater violations totaling $25,000, and the DA starts investigating interference with a recorded easement and tampering with drainage, both potential felonies. One deputy cracks his knuckles, serves a mandatory access order, gate unlocked. Planters moved pylons cut within 24 hours or else. I drive my tractor home across that lane like a war hero in a parade, leaving mud tracks spelling freedom. Deirdre, she loses her presidency vote, is 87-1, and I'll let you guess who the one was. Pergola's Gone County says so. Her clubhouse key card deactivated while she stands there. Court orders HOA to build me a proper gravel access, reflective markers and all, and to pay damages $37,000 for lost deliveries, $18,000 for legal fees. And Deirdre, who once called herself guardian of the Serenity Strip, now spends her weekends in a neon vest that reads, Flow Matters Clearing Culverts for 300 hours every Saturday and Sunday. The developer fined $150,000, lost his county license. When the judge read the verdict, Deirdre's face turned the color of expired milk mouth, opening and closing like a fish out of water before she finally dropped her clipboard on the courtroom floor, the sound echoing like thunder. But you know she managed to whisper, "But the aesthetics, just one last time." So here's the thing. What would you have done if someone tried to wall off your family's land with a pergola and a pile of fake rules? Was I right to fight, or should I have just taken the serene route and let them win? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear your take on what's fair, what's right, and what justice really means when you're up against a clipboard army. And hey, if you've ever dealt with an HOA nightmare or had to fight for your family's land, share your story too. Somebody out there probably needs to hear it.